All right, well, good morning. My name is Usamah Rodgers, and I currently serve as the Executive Director for Early College High Schools in Dallas ISD. All right. So we began this journey in Dallas ISD looking at what was our post-secondary gap. And so we know that the jobs that students are currently graduating into, that there are currently about 28% of those jobs that need post-secondary education. However, 2020, which is right around the corner, I joke to say, 2020 used to sound so far away, but that's actually the freshman class that's sitting in our seats right now, that 65% of those students will require some sort of post-secondary education as they enter into the workplace. So knowing that, we took a deep dive into our data, and what we found is that we had a tremendous opportunity for improvement in Dallas ISD as it related to post-secondary completion. Dallas ISD as a whole, if we looked at the class of 2009, about 21% of those students had completed within 6 years an associate's degree or higher. We compare that across the state, and while those numbers were slightly better other places, we were far from that targeted goal that's needed for workforce readiness for 2020. We launched our Collegiate Academy initiative with 8 schools in Dallas ISD with 6 of the DCCCD campuses, and this year we are actually going to scale with early college high schools using the PTEC model in all of our comprehensive high schools except for Skyline High School, and we will be partnering with all 7 of the DCCCD campuses, and we've been engaged in some work that has been very meaningful. A lot of people say, well, how did you get 2 entities as large as Dallas ISD and DCCCD to move as fast as you all are moving? And really that speaks to the importance of this work. As it relates to the Dallas Independent School District, our board recently adopted 6 goals. And this initiative really speaks to Goal 2 and Goal 4. And Goal 2 is that Dallas ISD will be the choice district for our families within our community. And then Goal 4 speaks to the fact that we want to ensure that our students are graduating ready for college, career, or the military. And so we started with 8 schools where there were opportunities for growth. While the graduation rates had increased, that post-secondary completion rate for cohort 1 schools was 13%. So the Dallas County average was 28%. The Dallas ISD average was 21%. But for our cohort 1 schools, that number was 13%. Then we dug a little bit deeper and identified what did that number look like across cohort 2. And across cohort 2, while it was slightly better because we had 2 campuses that were outliers at 29% that were above the Dallas County average, we still had opportunity for improvement. So a lot of people say, and these slides just represent that data that I shared in different ways by campus. And a lot of people say, well, why are you all moving this to scale? Well, when we launched our application process and we accepted about 900 students, we have approximately 11,000 rising freshmen in Dallas ISD. So in those 8 schools, this initiative only touched 9% of our students. And going to scale, we will be able to impact 19% of our incoming freshmen. And there was also just a huge interest in this initiative. When our applications launched for the cohort 1 schools, we had approximately 2,000 students who applied for those spaces. And so this particular slide just shows what those 6-year completion rates look like for our cohort 2 schools. And like I said, while we were extremely excited that our graduation rates were above 80%, in those schools, when we looked at post-secondary completion, we really understood that there was work to do. So with this initiative, we will be able to significantly increase the number of students who are obtaining a post-secondary credential by the time that they graduate. Actually, those numbers will grow exponentially. With our cohort 1 schools, if just 50% of our students completed the 60 hours, we would in fact double the number of students that had graduated in the class of 2009 with a post-secondary credential.
I'm going to try to give you a sense of where the CCCD is with this initiative. Like Dallas ISD, we have board goals that relate to increasing completion of certificate and degrees, as well as impacting the poverty rate within the Dallas County, which exceeds 25%. Our partnership with Dallas ISD is intended not only to increase to the target of 60% by 2030, ages 25 to 34 having a certificate or degree, but is also intended to decrease poverty in the county of Dallas. We understand that early college, high school is about support systems as well as about the academic rigor and college courses that are offered. And so we've involved a lot of different partners. I was earlier, right before this, with the Dallas Regional Chamber of Commerce, who is very supportive of this initiative and the work that we're doing, as well as we have Educate Texas in the room and other partners in TCCC who are supporting us, and we'll talk a little bit more about that support. But it is an initiative that is, as you know, very labor intensive and costly. And so you need to very much structure how you're doing this holistically and with a common purpose and approach. And one of the things that Usamah and I shared, we worked together when I was at Cedar Valley and she was at Cedar Hill Collegiate High School, is we knew that the more that we could structure the pathways, the more that we could align our curriculum with the universities as well as with our own institutions, the better it would be for our students. We started cohort 1 with an emphasis on increasing career and technical education program completions. It's an opportunity for our students to get marketable skills in areas that are in high demand. We did labor market intelligence information on all the degree programs that were designated. And as you can see by this slide, all the cohort 1 have industry partners who have met with the high school and college administrators to define what the role of those industry partners would be. It has been everything from mentorship and internships to employment opportunities, as well as scholarships, in some cases also potential of donations of equipment to either the high schools or the colleges, which will be beneficial to us all. Cohort 2 is a mix of AAS, the Associate in Applied Sciences, as well as Associate in Science and Associate in Arts degrees. Most of the Associate in Arts and Associate in Science degrees are geared towards a particular profession, an employment goal, and are articulated with the university partners. So we have selected potential partners for the articulation transfer pathways, and actually some of the people who are developing the pathways are in this room. They're from DCCCD, if you want to raise your hands, are over there. So they have helped us greatly because between cohort 1 and cohort 2, we have developed almost 50 certificate and degree pathways for these students. And one of the things that was mentioned by the earlier speaker was that the need to make sure the students are taking courses that are applicable to a degree and that are transferable to a university. So one of the things that we worked with the data on is looking not only at the associate degree completion, but bachelor's degree completion. And because of the attainment of higher wages with bachelor degrees, especially if they're going into a career ladder opportunity where associate degree may be the entry level, and then a bachelor's degree would be more advanced. So we have worked with NTCCC on and our university partners on AAS to BAS guided pathways. UNT and other institutions have worked with us on this. And by degree cluster, we have pathways, and I think I can get to this to give you an example. We'll see.
Do you want me to click on something for you?
Yeah, if you click on the Business Administration, UNT, see if it'll come up.
Okay.
It's going to give you an error message. Aha, okay. So here is the template that was designed by all of the institutions, 4-year and 2-year institutions, that focuses on what are the first 2 years and then the second 2 years, so that courses are specifically identified that will be applicable to a degree program. And this is just one of them, UNT, but all the universities had an opportunity to look at the Collegiate Academy programs. This is the first cohort, and to develop their articulated courses at the university level. And if you haven't been on the NTCC site, I'll make a plug for it. There's a little graphic that says AAS to BAS on that site, and you can then see all the articulated AAS to BAS guided pathways. Here it is, that's the site. We are going to be talking with NTCC perhaps about putting some additional guided pathways on there as soon as we've got them fully approved by all of our institutions. So it's been an exciting journey, and we are still in the process. December 1st, Usamah will be submitting 19 early college high school applications for Dallas ISD. We have been talking and emailing constantly the past few months about this, but we're on target so far to do that, and then we're renewing an additional, we have at least 6 early college high schools that exist with DCCCD. Some of you, yeah, so we're talking 24.
Thank you, Anna. My name is Denise Davis. I work with Educate Texas, and I'm so glad to be able to be a part of it. It kind of feels like a reunion with Usamah and Anna here, as I helped them launch Cedar Hill Collegiate High School, and I was actually a part of the work that with the University of North Texas as we launched with DCCCD the 2 original early college high schools with the can I see it a little quicker? With Educate Texas, then Texas High School project of the Mountain View, Trinity Garza Early College High School, and then Brookhaven Early College High School, who are 2 of the original pioneer early college high schools for the state of Texas. And so that's exciting to be back, to be a part with some old friends today. But you know, Educate Texas has been around since 2004, and we've strongly believed and been a support of making sure that all students in the state of Texas have opportunities to get to and through their post-secondary career. And so through our work, we've always been looking to see what are those areas that we could help to support and provide you tools and resources so that your schools could be successful. If you look at our 4 buckets of work there, that college and career readiness, that's our early college high school and T-STEM work. Now we are actively still very involved with our T-STEM academies as they launch off the ground, but now our work with early college high school really focuses around that professional learning series to support your teachers in helping them provide that academic rigor so the students can be successful. And then, which kind of overlaps with the teacher effectiveness piece. You know, and through the years, we're going to talk a little bit about the higher education portion in there, but we've been talking a lot lately around regional collaboration and the value of all of the partners being together. As you would sit down and begin those early years of your early college high schools, and we always have your DCCCD, and lots of times we would encourage that your four-year partner be sitting there at those steering committees. But you know, we're learning through research and the value that we've got to have workforce sitting there too for the careers, because that's the piece that are missing as our kids are leaving and graduating. Yes, they can graduate with their associates, they can graduate and be successful at the university, but then when they actually are getting into the job world, that's where we're finding they might have the knowledge to be hired, but it's their soft skills and marketable skills that are getting them fired. So we need to be working on that. I know as early college high schools, we get real concentrated. We've got to get the work done. We've got to get the work done. But there's some other things that we need to also be working on as well with them. So with the Texas College Access Network, that's what I've been working with for the last couple of years, we've been looking around what awareness of who is doing what in the college access world. And you know, here in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, you've got a lot of supports that you need to connect to. Not just your higher eds, but you've got your commits, you've got your North Texas P16, you've got your North Texas Consortiums. You need to be connecting to finding out who's out there that can help your students so that they can be successful. Because if we start aligning, and I get on my soapbox about 60 by 30 Texas, if we don't start changing things now, we're not going to meet our goal by 2030 that we're going to have 60% of our population with students graduating with some type of credential at the age of 25 to 34. And as I was talking to the coordinating board and I was talking to Jarrell, I'm like, the ISDs don't get that right now. I think they are now, because of the fact these are your 4th and 5th graders. We've got to start making and planning so that not only are they going to be successful when they get to your schools, but that they can be successful to get through the pipeline. So keep that in mind, that we have to align all of our work together so that we can ultimately have that impact measurement, that we can see the successes that Kim was sharing that we've seen with the GTF Scholars Program. So what I wanted to share with you today, as so often our counselors in early college high schools, they are swamped. They have I just want to like strangle any comprehensive high school counselors, but you only have 400, you have 400 students with every one of them has something different, a plan. It's not like where everybody's on a generic track like so often. And our early college high school counselors have a lot on their plates. And so in my work, what I try to do is to try to find those resources and tools that can help your counselors advise, because that's probably the biggest thing that I hear around the state of Texas from the higher ed partners, from our community partners, is the advisement piece, so that we don't end up with those excessive credits around. And that's not just, that is across the board. We're seeing that happens. So we want to try to help those students. So I hope that today some of the resources and that Christina will give you the slide deck so that you'll have this to take back to your counselors, because I want them to have a one-stop shop to help them with resources for advising your students. Because you got to remember, pretty much, especially as DCCCD partners, this hasn't cost those students anything to get through the pipeline. Now things, as they move into the University of North Texas or into their four-year institution, things are going to change for them. And we have to train them. We have to give them those tools to understand that when we apply for financial aid as seniors, we have to do that every year. And you would be surprised how many of our kids get to college and do not realize, oh my, I have to do this every year, and then they don't have financial aid. I'm sure Anna's got some horror stories that she could share, and Melissa, that has happened at their institutions. So keep those things in mind as we're going to talk a little bit about some TexCan resources and tools. I have provided for you today your FAFSA reports as of September the 30th. And you're like, well, if our counselors can get this information, if they're on counselor suites, if they have access to the Apply Counselor Suite, you'd be surprised how many of our counselors across the state of Texas are not accessing and utilizing the tool that the coordinating board has put together for them. But for our community partners, for your district, if they want to see a great big snapshot of where you are with your FAFSA data, because we know that finances is one of the biggest barriers that can keep our students out, is the fact that we release once a month, we pull this data down, and we have got that for you. Now, the September 30th, why that is so important is because there's the 60 by 30 ECHS, let's see, all my acronyms are going together. The 60 by 30 ESC regional challenge to try to see a 4% increase across the state of Texas to see our data improve in our FAFSA. So there's also an opportunity, if you go to that link, you can get the updates on the when the new reports release, that your counselors can have access to that. It'll be access to, there's an upcoming webinar next week that's going to be around your dreamers. And you'd be surprised how many, our counselors have a lot to learn, and we do sometimes in our early college high school students have undocumented students, and we have those resources to help your counselors be able to help those students get through the process once they're leaving the early college high school. So if you look right now at the data, it's very interesting. In the state of Texas, we ended up last year, I think it's 48, 49, I can't see that far away, sorry, I think it's 49%. As of September the 30th, with the new FAFSA launching on October 1st, that's why we cut it at September the 30th with the Texas Reach Higher Challenge. And if we want to get 4%, and this is what the coordinating board is asking across the state of Texas for every region, every district, every campus, which includes your early college high schools, and you'd be surprised often our early college high schools FAFSA rates of completions are not as high as you would think they would be. And so just so you could see it, I provided you region 10 and 11, that data is there. But if we could get 13,000 more students across the state of Texas to complete, we could hit that 4% goal, which would help because we have a 88% graduation rate in the state of Texas. The sad part about it is only 54% of those students graduate college ready, and only 54% of them are actually going on to college. So we've got a lot of work that we can be working on. Yes, our early college high schools, and as DISD is launching into their new endeavors, they're going to see that the support systems of helping them with this information will be supported. So in region 10 and 11, and I'm sorry I can't see that far away, but we're right at around 3,500. If we could get about 3,500 more FAFSA applications in our two regions, we can meet that 4% goal, which would hit, I think y'all were off just a little bit hitting the goal that Commit had set for Dallas County as well. So this is just to kind of help guide you. We're working, we will not release until January 1, because if anyone has pulled down the Department of Ed data with the release of the new FAFSAs on October 1st with the old, they're giving you two sets of data, and right now that data is going to fluctuate a little bit between now and December 31st. And because of the fact that we want to capture all those students that could be those late graduates that didn't go that fall semester, we are going to be releasing to the campuses and the districts. We will have the goals that says your campus at, I can't think of, at Mountain View, you need this many more students and you would hit your 4% goal. We're going to release that in January because we want to grab that last little data that could fluctuate up or down a little bit. So that's coming as well as a tool for your seniors, for your counselors. The other thing is that I wanted you to know that out there is this resource that our friends down in the Rio Grande Valley has put together. Through the Texas College Access Network, it gives an opportunity for our different groups to collaborate and to learn from each other. When I was doing some recent work a couple of years ago down there in the valley, and you know, you might be surprised, some of your counselors come in, they might not have always been in that high school level, and they might not have all of the acronyms down to understand, but the first time it was said to me in a meeting, we have some issues with our TASFA. And I'm leading the group, and I'm like, I have no clue what they're talking about. And I had no clue what TASFA meant at that point, because I had never worked with, at that point, undocumented students and helping them get financial aid. So we began to work through a process, and they have developed in that middle book there is the Dreamer's Guide. That is a guide that your counselors can use and open it up, and it will guide them through of how to help your undocumented students to apply with their Texas, apply Texas, and then it guides them through how to complete the financial piece for them. There's a lot of questions sometimes you don't know how to answer. They've highlighted, answer it, yes, no, whatever. They tell you exactly what to put in there. It's a great resource for your counselors. Usamah Canales, a good friend of Anna's and mine both, she has said that if y'all want these, she'll get them in the print document where you can actually go in. You can download these now and they're in PDFs. But if you needed to update them to actually put the documents that DCCCD, UNT would require for your Dreamer so your counselors would have that information, she'll get that information to help you out. The other one they put together was for our undocumented families, for them to understand that it's okay and how there is support for their students to be there. So we wanted you to know that this is resources out there for your counselors. Then the other thing is the Texas College Access initiatives that we support and are a part of. So I mentioned to you about the Texas Challenge Reach Higher, and if you haven't heard about that, we're looking with, this is the work of, we're a part of the Reach Higher from the White House convening, and this team, we have set the 4% goal for Apply Texas. That's not 4% of Anna does 2 applications, Usamah does 3, and I do 1. No, that means we want to see a 4% of applicants, not applications. And then we want to see a 4% of our FAFSA across the state. I provided you on your tables, there is from the Generation Texas. November's coming up. That's going to be a new venture for your counselors. This year we've got, they now have one more thing on their plates. They have FAFSA happening along with Apply Texas at the same time. So GenTax has put together some great resources. They don't have to reinvent the wheel. It's all there for them. Connect them to these resources. The other one called Form Your Future is from the National College Access Network, and they have also provided this different tools for you to put together events on your campuses, social media. I mean, I love social media, but I'm not really great to know what's that message I could tweet. They actually have your PSAs written out for you. They have your tweets that you can copy and paste and customize. They have your social media. So it's all right there for your counselors, right there at their fingertip that you can find on our Texas College Access website. And the last thing I wanted to mention is we are part of the Reach Higher from the White House convening, and the First Lady has launched not only the Reach Higher initiative, which was to support our counselors because she knows how much how strained they are and how much more support they needed, and that's what the whole Reach Higher White House convening with our Texas Challenge is about, is how do we support and provide tools. So the one thing that she's put together, and connect your early college high schools to Better Make Room. This is a platform for these students to be able to do their Snapchats, their Twitter, their Instagram, all of these things to show what they're doing to get ready to go to college. And we want to see Texas to be as one of the people being showcased on the Better Make Room. It also provides them, the other thing she launched was Up Next. How many of you know what Up Next is? It's going to close 2 days from now. You need to go back and you need to tell all your counselors across all your school districts, get your seniors to text in 44044. You can do it right now and you're going to get a text from the First Lady. And you're going, but I'm not a high school senior. It's for 4 different groups of folks here. It's for our seniors. It's for our students that are in school so that they'll know what to do, that persistence piece around financial aid. They can mark that I'm already in college. There's also the ones that have graduated that could have loans. There's a piece for them. And then the fourth piece is for your counselors, and your parents can also be a part of this. It gives those counselors, you'll get a reminder, your counselors will get reminders of things. Oh, I need to do a message to let my seniors know, because it's just going to be a support system to her. But your students can do this, your parents can do this, but they are going to close it on the 27th, but they will be getting messages free all year long from the First Lady, from the White House Initiative, Reach Higher, and this will continue, and the next year they'll start a new one. So that's a great thing that I don't want anyone to miss out on. But if you do have any any other things, what I have learned is that it's going to take a village for us to all get our students through, as everyone's been sharing today. But we've got to work together collaboratively across all of our institutions, but we need to start pulling in our workforce to be a part of our conversations. Thank you.
All right. Well, again, my name is Melissa McGuire. And among the other things that I work with at UNT, I do work with the GTF scholars and really all the early college, high school graduates who come into the university. And so I'm going to switch gears a little bit and just tell you about my experiences and what I've learned working with the early college, high school graduates who have come on our campus. And a lot of it will just reiterate what Kim was saying through the data, but I'll be able to share a little bit more of the personal stories that might go along with that. But the things that I've seen in the 125 GTF scholars we have seen come through, I think a very good accolade to all of you is they are extremely motivated students. And they're motivated to get that 4-year degree. All of them, as Kim shared, they're coming in that we have had as our scholars. Now, yes, we do have some academic criteria that we look at in selecting them. But ever since cohort 1, we have had all of our students TSI complete, which helps them get closer to that graduation sooner, which is important. Although I would say the students are a little bit unsure about their major, but I think some of that comes about because they don't want to graduate in 2 years. They start to have fun on campus and start getting integrated to the campus, and then all of a sudden they have 3 majors and 2 minors, and I'm like, what are you doing? Your major is not a life decision. Let's pick a path, let's get you on there, and then let's pursue some graduate work. So with the graduation question that came back here when the data was shared, you know, one of those instances, one of our students from the first cohort who wouldn't be in the completed data because GTF stops tracking at the end of the 3rd year, he, at the end of 4 years, graduated with 3 majors and 2 minors, now is in doctoral graduate work. So, and all of that was, he just had a lot of interest. And there is the flip side of that, where last night I got an email from one of our GTF scholars who he is leaving with 2 semesters left, and he's going to give up his full scholarship and us covering up to the cost of attendance because of family issues that he has to deal with. So we'll no longer know what the outcome is necessarily with him through the GTF data. So there is that discrepancy, and it runs the gamut of what the issues that the students are dealing with. In terms of the application of credits to their degree, I think the most noted response that we get from advisors on why credits didn't apply to the degree is because they've completed their core and they have too many electives. So that is not across the board, but I can tell you anecdotally, looking through all of the reports, that's what our advisors are reporting most often. I want to kind of move into the model that we have adopted and that we believe is helping our students and setting them up for success. And that is with the GTF scholars, and we have kind of honed it in each year to make what we do a little bit better. And we see increases in the average GPA at the end of the first semester, and the number in good programmatic and university standing at the end of the first semester, which is a very important semester for students to set the tone. But one of the things we do is we offer a weekly meeting with the students. It used to be a 1-hour course, but then we realized really we don't need to give these students any more credits. Let's just have them come meet with me for an hour every week, although we set it up like a course. And we talk about career development and finding their talents and their strengths, and it's very much set up like a first-year seminar type course. But what it allows me to do, because it is set up like a course, is look at their behaviors in my classroom. Because if they're behaving that way in my classroom, they're likely having similar behaviors in their other classes. And if something might be impeding their success or might be hurting them, then I can jump in and I can address it at that point in time. So if you never come to my class with pen, paper, your syllabus, you don't turn in your assignments on time, you didn't print it, whatever it is, you didn't follow the instructions, we can intervene at that point and just make sure that we're getting them on track. We also make them, after the first semester, I'll back up, we meet monthly with the GTF scholars. Aside from that, we want them to participate in at least one engagement activity a month. Just getting involved on campus is really important, and they can pick what they want that engagement activity to be. A lot of the GTF scholars in one of our first meetings, they give me the kind of mentality of, I've been there, I've done this, like I already got all this figured out. And I think as they progress through this semester, maybe they haven't figured it all out, but they're ready at the beginning. They think, well, I'm different from everyone because I've done this before. So by me making them participate in an engagement activity, they're getting involved in different things with the university. That can be anywhere from going to a football game to going to a supplemental instructor session or going to meet with a faculty member. I want them to pick what it is. I just want them to do something. We also, in our financial package, we ask that all students work study is a part of all of their package. And so we want them to find an on-campus job, and we want them to work 20 hours or less so that and on-campus helps them focus a little bit more on their academics. We also have a pre-orientation meeting that is before they ever start orientation. As I said before, we do treat them like freshmen, so they come to freshman orientation. And if I didn't meet with them prior to it, they would walk in, and this year they would have heard me say, welcome to the class of 2020, when I don't want them to be the class of 2020. I want them to be the class of 2018 or 2019. So it's important for us to have those pre-orientation meetings and also talk to them and set them up for academic advising at orientation. We are lucky at UNT, not every institution has this, but early college high school graduates have a unique coding where advisors, like we can look in a system and know who our early college high school graduates are. So if an advisor is paying attention to that, they can know that they're going to come in with 60 hours or however many hours they might be coming in with and tailor that conversation, even if the student won't be an advocate for themselves and bring that up. So this fall we did start rolling out these services to all ECHS graduates. All of them were invited to a pre-orientation meeting, and we had a pretty good turnout for those. And all of them were invited to a weekly meeting and set up like the class. They don't have a scholarship that is requiring them to go. And I would say at the first meeting of this semester, we had about 85 students that included the GTF scholars, the 25 of them. And by the second and third meeting, I was pretty much just seeing my GTF scholars. But I think they'll come back after midterms. They'll start coming back and realize they might need some help that they didn't think that they needed before, and they'll always be welcome. I think the most important thing there is that they know that there's a campus representative who is there to serve them. And if nothing else, they know they can go to Melissa and she will help them navigate, figure out where they need to go. And I think that is a critical piece for all the early college high school graduates. And a lot of that has to do with they are getting such great support at their early college high school. And I think for those who aren't GTF scholars and what we were seeing with those who were kind of figuring it out on their own, if they didn't connect with someone, they were going to continue to struggle. I don't think it's the money we're providing the students that's keeping them at UNT. It truly is having some place to go when they can say, Melissa, this is a problem, this is a problem, this is a problem. And I can either remove or lessen the burden of two of those three things because they just know where to go and who to talk to. So my goal is that through dialogue such as this, we can kind of create a model, a developmental model for students in that social support where you are still providing the support that you are. And I think this is what all four-year institutions need to do, especially as more early college high schools are developed. But we need to have a continuum where when they start at the early college high school, they have a lot of support. And as they progress, that support starts to lessen. And the 4-year responsibility is to increase the amount of support we're offering to all early college high school graduates when they first get into the 4-year institution, and then slowly back off of that to meet the developmental needs of the students. We have to work together in that to make it seamless for the student.
Thank you. I'm Catherine Oliverez. I work with the UNT Transfer Articulation Services Department with Celia Williamson. And in that area and in my role, I am the background. So Anna Mays presented earlier the pathway for the Dallas ISD DCCCD academies in that particular pathway. I'm the person who goes through the university part, and I put in all of the classes for that. And so we in our office take care of all of the pathways. I'm kind of that background person, slowly going through all of the community college catalogs and finding all of the curriculum and making sure that the curriculum that UNT sets forth for their part of the pathway matches and supports what's already been done in the 2-year or the community college aspect of it. So in our office, not only we do the AAS to BAAS pathways, as has been noted already through the NTCCC partnership that we have, but we are also trying to work with our colleges in providing just the AA or the AS to a Bachelor's of Arts or a Bachelor's of Science degree to the university, because we understand that when students are making choices about what classes they want to take, as Melissa said, particularly with early college high school students, a lot of them may have excess electives that are great and they'll transfer, but they may not apply to the degree that they're seeking. And that's a very, very important thing that we tell students when they come in. It's not just about what's going to transfer, because especially at UNT, your stuff is going to transfer. Does it apply? That's the question that students really, unless they've had that intervention either at the early college high school or at their high school or something like that to ask those questions, a lot of the time they may not know that. And so what we try to do with these pathways is to try to take that guesswork out of it and saying, yes, this is all going to transfer and it's all going to apply to the degree. And so that's what we are trying to do in our office when we map those pathways, when we provide that visual just that visual key there for students. And we understand not everybody who's going to attend a community college is going to go full-time. The majority of students probably won't, even if they're early college, high school, after they finish and then go on. So if they decide to go and move forward to the university, it's really just a checklist. We want to make sure that that checklist is available to students so they can just, say, okay, I've done this, I've done this, I've done this. And we provide on the pathway notes and just little notations, little comments about, this is a core curriculum course, or this particular course is the one that you need to get. Because while we do provide transfer guides, particularly on our website at UNT, our advisors and our registrar's office have worked very diligently in providing these transfer guides. A lot of the times the transfer guides that we provide really speak to other advisors, and they provide a lot of great information for advisors. But if a student is out there looking for that particular document, it may not speak to them the way it would speak to an advisor. And so that's why we've put these pathways together, is to really find a way to show students from point A to point B and then from point B to point C how they can manage those first 2 years, get the classes they need, get the classes that will count, and then come over to the university and finish what they've started and finding their way through. And a lot of the times, some of the questions that we've been asked is, what if the student changes their mind? And really at that point, a lot of the times we do have to go back and say, the student, they're responsible for the choices that they make, and we've put these together. But we also want to put as many of them as we can together, so that way if a student is really debating between their majors, they can see the slew of the pathways and find at least 10 courses that will count all over, and then start that way. And so that's really what we're trying to do, is just find ways in which we can facilitate this pathway from the community college to the university without that that gap for students where they may lose something or they feel that I took all these courses that they don't count now. And so that's what we do in our office and what we've been trying to do with those pathways and work collaboratively with our community college partners as well as with NTCCC to provide those documents and provide those pathways for students and to get them into their hands. And so that's really an essential thing. And for those who are with early college high school, how does that apply? Well, those pathways can be used as if your early college high school has those certain courses that are being offered during those classes. Those pathways can be used to provide to those students as well during that time so they can visually see exactly what courses they're going to take or what they've already taken and then pull into the university. And so that's kind of what we do at UNT with that particular pathway. And yeah, so.
I'll take this one. Okay, so at this time, we're going to open it up for questions and answers, and if y'all just kind of pass the mic back and forth, that'll be great. Anybody have a question for the group? I'm sure you do. Nothing? I got one. I saw you nodding a lot, so I thought.
I was trying to let somebody else ask a question.
Okay, so at UNT, I was wondering, I heard earlier in the research that you had a lot of students graduating considering graduate school. So I was wondering at UNT, are you partnering your early college students with like TRIO's McNair program and other support services beyond just the support that you're offering them? How are you funneling them into those alternate support areas?
We have not specifically partnered with McNair. We have partnered with student support services to talk to the students and get them connected in that way because there's a lot of overlap between the populations and another tuition guarantee program we have called the Emerald Eagle Scholars Program. So many of our GTF scholars are GTF scholars and Emerald Eagle scholars. And our Emerald Eagle Scholars Program is a tuition guarantee program for anyone whose family income is $40,000 or less. And we always tell students we want you to participate in both programs because at the end of 2 years, mine is going to stop and Emerald Eagle is going to cover you for 4 years. And so they are also, a lot of Emerald Eagles are connected to McNair, so that's happening there. What we do with our kickoff meetings each semester, and for those who want to go into graduate school, potentially they have to take the GRE in the summer after their first year. They need to take it in the spring, depending on deadlines and what the applications look like for the graduate programs that they're wanting to pursue. So at the beginning of each fall, we have the graduate school come and talk to them about how to get to graduate school, what resources we have on campus. And in the same light, it's not just graduate school. If a major requires an internship, we have to talk to them about it in their first semester, so we partner them with the Career Center and the internship office. If they want to go study abroad, they really need to do it the year after they start at UNT, unless they're going to graduate in 3 years, but they have to start thinking about that at that specific point in time, right when they start. And that's really hard for an 18-year-old who's just getting into the four-year institution to be able to see the whole picture. So sometimes what we say, they're not developmentally ready to hear it. It goes in one ear and out the other. But if we say it long enough, then they'll, or enough, then it'll get to them.
Thank you. That's good. Oh, I see.
Okay, my question has to do with the development of partnerships. I know both of you all mentioned that, and I wanted to get some insight on how can I go about doing that. Because I'm in Lancaster Independent School District, we're in the process of setting up our early college high school, so we're waiting on the application to drop from TA and all that. And I noticed on the list you had, the partnership was the only piece that we hadn't addressed, I'll say, to the fullest. So give me some insight on that.
So in Dallas, we have a pretty strategic and comprehensive plan for industry partnership. The first thing we did was engage with the Dallas Regional Chamber of Commerce. We engaged with the United Way. We looked at what organizations were currently working with our schools, what companies. We started with the labor market analysis. We have a group of philanthropists that meet, that is the PTEC STEM Council. And so everybody just kind of reached out into their networks, and we looked to see how could we support those particular pathways. I think the partnerships are working because we've streamlined the pathways. So unlike traditional early college high school where the students are working on 60 college credit hours that are transferable into the four-year degree, these students are working on pretty specific degree plans that we've mapped to mid-level employment. And so because the curriculum is designed to map to mid-level employment, we've sought industry partners to support that work, who agree to supporting our students through a framework of shared governance, curriculum mapping, workplace learning opportunities, job shadowing, and mentoring.
I want to add to what Usamah said, that one thing I think that's critical is you first need to determine the degree pathways that are appropriate to your institution and your region. And so in Lancaster, you have a lot of logistics companies that are coming in, and I know there are other companies that are growing in your area that your chamber is talking with. And then go to your chamber and say, okay, we want to prepare your employees for the future. Tell us what partnership might be most appropriate for our early college high school. Because you know, some of you are instructional leaders, and you know you have to do gainful employment for the certificate and degree programs. And these students count towards your gainful employment statistics. So we want to see not only students completing their degree program, but getting employed. And we'll be, over time, collecting more and more data on the success rates of these students as compared to our general students on that. And so that partnership is really important to that. And it's not just that they provide employment, but the mentorship, internships, coaching that current employees of those institutions agree to is important as well. And I want to say something about what she said about UNT and what they're doing as a developmental model for support. How wonderful would it be if we did that with all of our students? What she's describing is exactly what not only is important for our early college high school students, but all of our students.
I was going to tell you, you can also get with the Texas Workforce Commission, and Lori Knight, who's their educational specialist, she can actually provide you data for your region. As a starting point, you could see that data and then connect actually with the different individuals, as Anna and Usamah shared with you.
Are there any early college high schools that offer as an option completing an AAT?
There will be.
Yes.
Okay, well, tell me more.
You're at one right now.
We're actually planning to launch two that have a AAT focus in the fall with Bryan Adams High School at Eastfield College and Brookhaven College and W.T. White High School.
Okay. Okay, so they'll have that as a focus at early college high schools that don't have a particular designation as a focus. Will students be able to opt for an AAT there?
So we, as we said, we designed each of the schools that we're launching with particular pathways, and at those two high schools that we named, the pathway that the students will be able to pursue are with the AAT. Because we are launching and going to scale, we've been very strategic about the types of programs that we're offering across the city. So not all programs are offered at every campus.
Okay.
And from the college perspective, it depends on which college offers that particular program already and wants to grow and has the capacity to grow that program. So Eastfield and Brookhaven, and we actually have, I think, some representatives from Eastfield, Eastfield here. Okay. The faculty from those programs have participated in reviewing the pathways and are giving feedback on the courses that the students need. And then we also have partnerships with the four-year universities to complete a bachelor's degrees with some of the programs as well. So we have mapped that out.
Hi, my name is Krista Jones. I'm with Eastfield. The two questions I have actually deal with the coordinating board and how they currently measure. And there's some flaws in the way that they measure, if I may say it like this. They currently measure only the unduplicated head count on your completers, which will greatly affect our 60 by 30 goal. And the other one is actually the CB 116 follow-up report, where we need to find the students in the system who have completed. This is a huge challenge when it comes to undocumented students, because we keep changing the number that we're reporting them by. And so the coordinating board really has to support and change their measurements or their accountability system to help us to do the job that we're doing and actually being able to report out on it. So if you can also take some influence in that direction, that would be greatly helpful, because the work you're doing is fantastic, but how it's going to come out and how it's going to be measured could really be adversely.
I could not agree with you more. Some of you were at the NTCCD Consortium workshop last Friday and heard Rex Peebles, and I did not hear one piece of data that he had that informed some of what he was saying. So it disturbed me. And I've gotten permission to write an email to him to indicate that there is data available and that they can assist us in providing the data on the success rates of dual credit and early college high school students. And that's why I'm encouraging all colleges to code these students appropriately so that we can track them. But there is an issue with that ID number. You know, we give undocumented students ID numbers that don't necessarily translate to the state ID number that they received from their high school. And we've been talking with our data individuals about how to resolve that so that we can track students from high school to college to university with a single number.
I know out in El Paso, they actually start with their ISDs, and they've got a partnership agreement, and they use that same number across all the way through. But makes it easy when you've got one
They
institution.
benefit from